I haven't done a YouTube video in so long, but I had shot this. This was about a year ago, and it was my first trip to Jaffna after many, many years. Actually, after 2009, which was my first ever trip to Jaffna. So it was just me, my mom, my cousin, and her husband. So this was a really intimate 4 people trip, and we decided to get on the train because we'd heard good things about the trip on the train, and well, we shall see. We caught the train from Fort Station, and I wasn't really impressed by the Fort Station only because I find that the lack of some of the basic facilities, it's a little bit, well, it's not comfortable. We got on the train, and first thing we did was look for food because it was quite late in the night and we were hungry. Managed to grab a few things and eat it then and there in the canteen, and just grabbed a coffee to go. Sat down in our reserved seating, and we are here. Not in Jaffna though. We actually missed the stop and ended up in another station that's right after Jaffna. And yeah, that was a little bit scary because we weren't sure whether we were going to get another train back, but we were told it would be arriving fairly shortly. So we just waited to go the other way back to Jaffna. How we missed the train stop for Jaffna, don't know. Honestly, just don't know. But there we are laughing about it. But you know what? Sometimes the misses have hidden within them some of the best magic. And this sunrise was just that. We were all kind of really impressed that we got to see this sunrise. And especially for me, because I'm not an early riser. So sunrises are not ones that I catch often. So here we are finally in Jaffna. The Jaffna station was really impressive actually. It was grand and it was easy to navigate. If you've ever been to Ayutthaya in Bangkok, it's kind of reminiscent of that. We decided to get a tuk from the station to our hotel, which was Fox Resorts, not too far away from Jaffna town, and we just kept our bags and headed to find something to eat. But this was a beautiful property and we are excited to explore it. They actually let us check in super early, which was such a surprise, and honestly just really wonderful service. We headed out and got recommendations from the hotel staff for this restaurant in Jaffna town. I really can't remember the name, maybe Saraswati, I could be wrong, but my goodness, the idli sambar here was out of this world. And we also had dosa because that's my mom's favorite, and just vada, and of course topped off with my masala chai. Next, we headed off to Jaffna Fort, and it was really beautiful there as well. But boy, oh boy, was it hot! It was just, yeah, not comfortable. My hat kept flying off, and yeah, so the heat was not my best friend. I tried to get the best of this as I could, but the wind was there, but it wasn't a cool wind. It was a really rough, warm wind. I'm usually a fan of architecture like this and just expansive walls and just history. So yes, it was definitely enjoyable, but at the same time, I'm not sure if we picked the best time to do it. So I highly recommend that you maybe go in when it's a little bit cooler and later towards the day, maybe evening. But yes, if you can take the heat, then no issues at all. There was also a museum inside the fort which housed a fair few artifacts as well as quite a lot of information, and we read through everything because, like I said, I really like this sort of thing, and I use these opportunities to learn about things that I don't quite know. A lot of history and a lot of information is housed here, so if you're a history buff or just want to learn and dig deeper, this is the place. There was also this really old well that we were told to have a look at, which still had water in it, and apparently it's super old and had a lot of history behind it as well. But yes, I guess that was pretty much all I could take for that one day. Next was lunch, and we found this restaurant which was also recommended by our hotel staff, and they said it had really good seafood and also just really great biryani. I'm vegetarian, so this is a paneer biryani, and this had really great South Indian feels, and the food was phenomenal. The public library in Jaffna was one of the places we all really wanted to visit because of its history, both tragic and beautiful. We couldn't record inside, but we all know the history of it having been one of the biggest libraries in Asia back in the day, and having been destroyed, burnt down in 1981, and now it's rebuilt and ready for public to visit as well. The next stop was Nallur Kovil, and honestly, this was really a beautiful site, a place that everyone should visit. And this, if you're Hindu as well, I'm sure has a lot of significance. And even if you're not like me, it was just one of the most spiritual experiences that you could have in Jaffna. Now we were just about ready to try this place, Rio Ice Cream in Jaffna. I've never been there, not even in Colombo, and you know what? I was pleasantly surprised. This is what I got, and it was delicious. Now I think I'll be grabbing a few in Colombo. After resting at the hotel for a bit, we were out again, and this time to explore the Jaffna market. And this was a really great place to find really cute handcrafted things and a lot of sweets that I'd never come across before, which were, I think, very unique to this area of Sri Lanka. And just a whole lot of different things that were very intriguing to me, because I love exploring markets and just finding fancy new things to try, especially if they're snacks. And I found plenty at this market and grabbed a whole bunch. The people here, just like everywhere in Jaffna, were really beautiful, friendly, warm people, and the prices were fair, and nobody tried to jack up the prices just because we were, local tourists or anything like that. Everything was marked, and actually if you bought quite a lot of things, they gave discounts as well, which was really lovely. I think I grabbed a whole lot of things that I didn't need, but honestly just enjoyed them on the way back on the train and at home later on, and also gifted a whole bunch. Our first day was really productive and very action-packed, and the second day was just beginning. We were told we had to wake up early and get ready if we wanted to head off to Nagadeepa, which was also one of the places that we really wanted to visit on this trip. This is my OOTD, and we were ready to head off to Nagadeepa. And yeah, this was an interesting trip, you'll see. We grabbed a quick filling breakfast and we were off to Nagadeepa. So this was a long, fairly exhausting, only because of the heat, fairly exhausting ride or drive to the place where we had to get the ferry or the boat to Nagadeepa, which is a separate island. Again, this was a really beautiful drive because some of the sceneries were things we hadn't seen before and we don't usually get to see. So no complaints here, but just the heat was a little bit unbearable by this time. But look at these landscapes, look at these views. I could not get enough of it, and honestly the videos, they just don't do justice. So before we reached this dock type place, we hadn't really checked the timetable for the boat, which wasn't the smartest move, but we managed to wait for about 45 minutes and we caught one, which was basically this. It's kind of in the bottom of this boat and you don't get a lot of air. There's motion sickness involved. It was one of the most unsafe feelings I'd ever felt, and the longest boat ride ever, it felt like. And once I got to Nagadeepa, I felt so much better. I felt really claustrophobic on that ride, and right now I'm contemplating how the hell I'm going to make another trip back to a base with that boat situation. The Nagadeepa temple is quite crowded, but you will get a chance to pray peacefully if you just look around for a tranquil spot, which we did and found. So you can visit and pray like you would a normal temple if you're a Buddhist, and if you're a visitor, if you're just sightseeing, a lot of information is there, so you can read some of the information that's around and kind of get to know the history behind this temple as well. And one of the footprints of Lord Buddha is also here, and people pay their respects to that as well. So yeah, just a lot to experience in this one temple, and you can spend a couple of hours here peacefully. Again, it was really hot for us, so we were kind of just trying to find shade, but overall I truly enjoyed this. Just across the road there is a Bodhya as well, so we paid respects there as well and prayed there. Again, that's something we would do when we visit a temple normally, and that's something you could do as well, treating this like a normal temple. Again, a lot of information that you can read in these areas as well. Spotted this little guy while waiting for our boat. This is me faking bravery because I'm actually at the top of the boat now and not in that claustrophobic bottom half. But this is my cousin. She's, I think, genuinely happy, and that's her husband, also genuinely happy. They're much more braver than I am. I'm just, yeah, freaking out. But honestly, at least this part of the boat, the top part, had air. It had light. I didn't feel like I was suffocating. This lifestyle, where it's a small boat in the middle of a very large ocean, is not for me. I know that now, but better things are yet to come. My mom, who usually freaks out at the mere mention of the ocean, is pretty chilled out on the trip actually. I, on the other hand, could not be happier to be on land, and this was moments before leaving the property, and we wanted to check out Fox Resort's museums, which are the bunker museums. This property actually has a lot of history as well. Some of the ex-rebel bunkers are found here. The guests can freely explore these grounds to find a lot of photos, prose, pictures, artwork, a lot of beautiful work by artists, a lot of history, a lot of depth about not only this property but also Jaffna and Sri Lanka, the journey that Sri Lanka's been through and what Jaffna's been through. A lot of it is so well documented here, and you could honestly spend hours just going through each and every photograph and each and every thing that's written here. And we did just that. We spent quite a lot of time down here just looking and learning, and this is definitely an eye-opening experience. And I think Fox Resorts, just the fact that they've been able to conserve this so that future generations and just anyone who really wants to learn and explore this is able to, is just such a wonderful thing. Going through this exhibit was really emotional because every one of these displays had so much depth and just so much soul, I guess. And if you were interested, you could just learn so much about the people, the history, and just the soul of Jaffna and Sri Lanka. And this couldn't be the end because it really intrigued me to come back and learn more, because I believe Jaffna is just full of magic and mystery, and just a couple of days won't do justice to it at all. If you're in Fox Resorts, also please check out the art gallery that they have, which is a collection of really beautiful, inspiring pieces of art done by local artists mostly, and you'll get to experience a side of Sri Lanka and the art scene in Sri Lanka that you'd be intrigued by, I'm sure. We really enjoyed a lot of the art pieces that we saw throughout the resort, but just underneath in that bunker museum, you see a lot more art, and in a more cohesive, almost gallery-like way. And that one was definitely another highlight for us, where we spent quite a lot of time going through each art piece and discussing it in detail with each other. So if you're going with family, if you're going with a loved one, even by yourself, I think whether it's external dialogue or internal dialogue, just to have a discussion about the art that you see and what it means and what it represents, especially through some of the most difficult times in our history, I think would mean a lot to you. I was truly amazed by how well put together this exhibition kind of gallery space was, and also how much thought went into making it a very reflective experience of what it was back in the day and what our journey has been through time, through a lot of the conflicts, and for somebody who's just experiencing it, to get the best idea through just art. And I think that's what art is all about, and I was truly inspired. Sadly, our Jaffna trip had come to an end, but that's what they say about all good things, right? One last tea before we leave Fox Resorts, which was just full of beautiful people and warmth, and the hospitality is just what Sri Lanka and Jaffna is all about. We caught the late train back to Colombo and rested all the way there because we were quite tired. This was an enriching experience and one that I hope you can have too.